Have you ever had that feeling, where you find something that's just so well made
Yeah.
and it just kind of hits that sweet spot of quality,
Right.
but it's also accessible? You know what I mean? Especially after being surrounded by like all the really high-end stuff,
Oh, yeah.
the stuff that's just like completely out of reach.
Right.
It really makes you appreciate it, I think.
Absolutely.
Like I was thinking about that recently with everything going on with watches and wonders.
Right.
There's so much amazing artistry there,
For sure.
but sometimes you just want something that's a little more grounded.
Yeah, something you can actually imagine wearing.
Exactly. So for anyone listening who feels the same way,
Mm.
who loves great design, solid engineering,
Yeah.
but, doesn't necessarily want to spend a fortune,
Right.
well, this deep dive is for you.
This is it.
Because today we're talking about the Raymond Weil Freelancer Complete Calendar,
Very cool.
and we've got some great sources for this one,
Oh, excellent.
including some first-hand impressions from someone who actually saw it at Watches and Wonders.
Wow, lucky them.
I know, right? So we're going to unpack all of that today, really get into what makes this watch so interesting.
I'm excited.
Me too. So, first impressions, what did you think when you first saw this watch?
Even just looking at the pictures, the press release stuff, it just looked really well balanced. Clean and classic, but with,
With a little bit of an edge.
yeah, exactly. A little bit of that Raymond Weil edge.
They said something like classic design with a bit of Raymond Weil edge, right?
Yeah, something like that. And it really does have that, I think. The actual watch definitely lives up to that.
So tell me about how it actually wears on the wrist.
Well, it's 40 millimeters.
Okay, classic size.
Yeah, and, a lot of watch people know that's a very wearable size for most wrists.
Right.
But the really impressive thing is the thickness. Only 10.15 millimeters,
Wow, that's thin.
especially for a complete calendar.
Yeah, is that typical?
Not at all. In fact, our source said it's one of the thinnest complete calendar watches out there.
So how does it feel when you actually put it on?
Really comfortable. It doesn't wear bulky at all. You get that presence, but without the extra heft.
And speaking of presents, the source actually compared this watch to some pretty high-end complete calendars.
Oh, really? Like what?
Like Vacheron Constantin, IWC, those really expensive ones.
Oh, wow. That's a pretty big difference in price.
Huge. And that just makes the value proposition of this Raymond Weil even more incredible.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get a similar look and feel for a fraction of the cost,
That's the idea, right?
that's amazing. Now, there was one thing that the source mentioned that might be a concern for some people.
Oh, what's that?
The lugs. They said the Freelancer line tends to have these faceted lugs that might wear a bit long,
I see.
especially for people with smaller wrists.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess it would depend on the lug-to-lug measurement.
Exactly. And unfortunately, our source didn't have that exact measurement.
Oh, too bad. Yeah, but it's something to keep in mind.
Definitely. If you can, try it on first.
Always good advice. Now, in terms of what it's actually made of, you've got two options.
Okay.
There's a rose gold version, which is actually stainless steel with a PVD coating.
Right, so not solid gold.
Right, but it gives it that rose gold look. And that one comes on a leather strap with a matching buckle.
Sounds very elegant.
Then there's the steel version, which comes on their 5-link bracelet.
All right, cool. And how do the straps feel?
Apparently, both the strap and the bracelet are really comfortable.
Nice. Any quick release mechanism?
Actually, no. The source mentioned that there isn't one.
Oh, that's a shame. I like being able to switch straps easily.
Yeah, me too. But, it's not a deal breaker.
Right.
Now, here's something that surprised me. This watch has a screw-down crown and 100 meters of water resistance.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, you don't usually see that on a complete calendar. Makes you think it could actually be an everyday watch.
Definitely adds to the versatility.
Totally. Okay, let's talk about the dials. I think this is where this watch really shines.
Oh, why is that?
Well, the source kept saying how well designed and balanced they are.
Yeah.
And most importantly, they're legible. You can actually read everything.
I hate it when a watch has so many complications that you can't even tell the time.
It defeats the purpose, right?
Totally. So how did they achieve that balance on these dials?
Well, first of all, the base dial has a simple sunray brushing.
Yep.
Silver for the rose gold case, blue for the steel.
Nice. Classic and understated.
And then you have these really elegant hands and markers. They're all tonneau shaped.
Tonneau, that's a good word.
I know, right? I had to look it up. But basically it means they have this kind of curved barrel shape.
I see.
And they're applied so they stand out from the dial. And get this, they all have superluminova.
Oh, cool. So you can see it in the dark.
Exactly. Practical and stylish.
Nice.
And they have a polished finish, which makes them pop even more against the dial.
So even more legible.
Exactly. Now, for the complete calendar display itself.
The main attraction.
Right. The month and day windows are up at the top.
Okay.
They're beveled, so they have a nice depth to them, and they're super easy to read.
Good. Yeah.
And then down at 6 o'clock, you have the date and moon phase.
That's the classic layout.
Yeah, it's very traditional and elegant. And the source was really drawn to the moon phase, they said. It's just visually captivating.
Moon phases are so cool, aren't they?
Yeah, there's something very romantic about them.
Totally agree. Any difference between the two versions?
Actually, yeah. The blue moon disc on the silver dial of the rose gold model really stands out.
Oh, I bet.
But on the blue dial of the steel version, it kind of blends in.
Interesting. So it changes the whole look.
It does. And the source actually said they prefer the rose gold version because of that contrast.
Yeah, I can see that. The blue moon against the, what do they call it? Dune color dial?
Yeah, dune, like a sandy color.
That sounds really nice.
It does, doesn't it?
Okay, so let's talk about the movement powering this thing.
It's called the RW32A1, a brand new movement for Raymond Weil.
New movement. That's exciting.
It is. But like all their mechanical watches, it uses a Sellita base, the SW300-1 in this case.
The good old SW300-1.
Yep. Solid movement, 56 hours of power reserve, 28,800 beats per hour.
Dependable workhorse.
And then on top of that, they add their complete calendar module.
And they managed to keep it thin.
I know, right? That's what impressed our source so much.
It's not easy to do that with a module.
Nope. And it makes you wonder because, you know, a lot of those more expensive complete calendars, they use integrated movement.
Right, where everything's built in.
Yeah, which is way more complex and expensive.
So this is a really clever solution.
Totally. And again, it speaks to the value proposition of this Raymond Weil.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It seems like they're really focusing on offering great complications at accessible prices.
That's the sense I get, and our source actually mentioned that they see Raymond Weil kind of elevating their style overall.
Interesting.
Like they pointed to the Millisime collection as an example.
Oh, yeah, those are beautiful watches.
And it seems like that focus on design is carrying over to their other lines as well.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Build a strong brand identity.
Exactly. And you know what's interesting? The source said there isn't really much competition in this price range for complete calendar watches.
Really? I would have thought there'd be more.
I know, right? But apparently it's mostly the really high-end brands that offer that complication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense.
And it seems like elegant dress watches are making a comeback.
They are. I've been seeing them everywhere.
So maybe Raymond Weil saw an opportunity there.
Smart move if they did.
The source did mention one competitor, the Ball Engineer 2 Moon Calendar.
Okay. Yeah, I know that one.
But they weren't impressed. They said it's thicker and not as well designed.
Ouch. That's harsh.
Well, they clearly love this Raymond Weil.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
They called it a sleeper hit.
A sleeper hit? I like that.
Yeah, me too. And the best part, the price,
Okay, hit me.
both versions, the rose gold and the steel, are $3,650 USD.
Wow. That's really good for a complete calendar, especially from a Swiss brand.
Exactly. So as we wrap up, what are your final thoughts on this Raymond Weil Freelancer complete calendar?
I think it's a really impressive watch. The design is thoughtful, the movement is solid, and the price is right.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's a watch that offers a lot of value for the money.
Yeah, and that thinness is a real achievement.
For sure. I think Raymond Weil really hit it out of the park with this one.
They did. It makes you wonder what other hidden gems are out there, you know?
Like what do you mean?
Like what other products offer this kind of quality and value, but maybe don't get as much attention?
Oh, I see what you mean. The sleeper hits in other industries.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I think it's worth looking for them, you know?
definitely. There's something really satisfying about finding those things.
It is. It's like you've discovered something special, something that most people haven't even noticed.
Yeah, and it makes you appreciate it even more.
Totally agree.
Well, on that note, I think we'll wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for joining me.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And to everyone listening, keep your eyes peeled for those sleeper hits. You never know what you might find.
Happy hunting.
Until next time.
See you.